My name is Brooke, Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. I'm a County Extension Agent for Agriculture and Natural Resources in Collin County. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about grill temperature. So now that we've got our grill ignited, lighted, and ready to roll, you can see the flavor smoke coming out the back of it. That means we are rocking it. So, first thing to understand with the grill is that it's kind of like an oven in all the ways except that it's not, right? So with a oven, you might have one or two heating elements really bringing in heat from multiple directions to provide an even bake, right? Whereas a grill, you have one heating element here at the bottom, and on some fancier ones, you might have a convection feature to it, but this is not a fancy grill, so we don't. One of the things, when we look at most of these grills, they will usually come with a thermometer attached to it, usually on the lid like this. These are really handy to get a general idea of what the temperature is like inside your grill, but also understand that this thermometer here is about 6 to 8 inches off of the actual cooking surface, so it may not always be accurate to the conditions right on the griddle surface. So once it's up to temperature, we let it run a little bit, then we'll come in, maybe do a little bit of cleaning, get that cook surface all nice and prepped. And then, because that thermometer is not representative of those conditions at the grill, you can utilize some inexpensive oven thermometers, and hang them from the top grill up here. Or you can do a very simple test called a hand test, which is straightforward. You take the back of your hand, put it over the grill surface, hold it for 2 to 4 seconds. If within 2 to 4 seconds it is uncomfortable to hold your hand, you need to pull it off. That means it's generally about 450 degrees Fahrenheit on that cook surface. So I'm going to hold it over. Yep, that's hot. I think we're ready to roll. Now before I do that, I forgot to turn my burners down. So these burners, when you ignite them, are at their highest gas throughput, right? So they're putting out the most heat possible, which is great when you want to ignite them. But if you're cooking on it, it's a great way to have the burnt outside of whatever you're cooking and raw inside, which one is not good for flavor, and two can get you sicker as a dog. So what we're going to do, we're going to turn this heat down. Get right into this nice little simmer zone, got it about 40% of maximum. And then we're going to put these patties on and get these fellas, put them on right here. A couple of patties. I'm just using my bare hand right now. Then I always like to throw a couple jalapenos on there. Keeps it spicy. It's the best kind of flavor. Put these peppers on. And we're going to close the lid and we're going to let them cook. Usually about 3 to 5 minutes per side. One of the critically important things is that you don't leave your grill unattended. Because oftentimes, again, especially when we talk about those temperature differentials, it can affect your cooking time. And if you're cooking a steak or something where you're looking for a very specific kind of doneness, that can change very quickly. The other thing I need to do is go wash my hands. So I was just handling some raw beef, and it's good hygiene. Cut.
All right, hello everybody. So I'm Brad Voss. I'm the horticulture agent in Collin County. While Chase is washing his hands, and he forgot to take the plate, shame on him, we're going to talk a little bit about cross-contamination. So we've been dealing with raw meat. So do we want to use the same utensils, like these tongs, like the spatula, that we use with the raw meat once it's done cooking? It's okay, for the things that are sitting in there, you have all that heat that's cooking off those germs, it's cooking off those contaminants. But your spatula and your tongs aren't sitting in there. They're just hanging off to the side. And not all of us have a dog to lick them clean. And for some of us, that's not good enough. So once your food is done cooking, take whatever utensil you've been using, put that aside, and use a fresh set. Also, with that, this plate here with all these lovely meat juices, all these lovely raw meat juices, are you going to take your nice, clean, cooked patties and put them back in this juice? No, we're not going to do that. So when Chase comes back outside from washing his hands, I'm going to send him back in there to get a fresh plate if he didn't already bring them, which he probably will. Now, something else about the utensils that you use outside. This is one of Chase and Jen's normal plates. It's a ceramic plate. I tend to use something like melamine or plastic. That way, if you accidentally trip and drop it, it doesn't explode. The other fun thing with melamine, just like with cutting boards, you can get different colors. So if you want to have a red one that tells you this meat is raw and have a different color one for something that's cooked, whatever helps you keep it straight works really, really well.
There you go.
So, before we move on to the next topic, let's give these burgers a check. They sound fantastic. They've been on for a little while. Chase has come back. He did bring a plate, so I don't have to get on to him. He also brought the meat thermometer, which you guys need to be using. So, let's give these burgers a click. Why, thank you, good sir. Check them out. Yeah, they are looking lovely. Got some lovely grill marks on them. So, another fun fact, if the meat doesn't want to come through the grates, it's probably not ready to flip. If it's grabbing on and hanging on for dear life, leave it there a little bit longer. It's not quite ready. Go ahead and roll the spice of life over here. There we go. And we'll go ahead and close this grate back down. So, while those burgers continue to cook, I don't need to touch the heat anymore. I'm happy with that. So let's talk a little bit about meat thermometers. Chase covered the thermometer on top of your grill, but this thermometer is what you would use to actually check the internal temperature of what you're cooking. All right? Before this food comes off the grill and you are done, no matter what your timing is and how well you know your grill, you need to put this thermometer into the center of that piece of meat. Make sure you don't go all the way out the other side and accidentally touch the grill and you're, oh my goodness gracious, hamburger's 450 degrees. Make sure you are still inside that cut of meat, preferably in the thickest portion, more towards the center, and take that internal temperature. For something like ground beef, I want you to shoot for 165 degrees. If you're dealing with a steak, you can play with those temperatures a little bit, but you want to cook to at least 145 degrees. So, with that, Chase, you brought a fresh plate. You can step back in with this. I will take this nasty one inside and get him washed up.
It's always better when you have someone else to do the washing up for you. So, as I said, 3 to 5 minutes on each side. Brad just flipped them. One of the reasons you keep seeing us open and close this lid is because, one, it manages the smoke. Two, it helps retain the heat. On a really cold day, you know, right now it's pretty comfortable outside. But if it was a really cold day, if you left this lid open, you'd lose so much of your heat. It could really prolong your cooking times, or really mess up your ability to plan and cook whatever you've got on the grill. And so, another way to test for doneness is with hamburgers like this. You know, if you press down on them, it really works better with the spatula. You press down. If the fluid that comes out is clear, they should be about done on the inside. If it comes out red, which that, by the way, that's not blood, that's just a part of the protein in the moisture that's coming up. You know, if it comes up red, give it a little bit longer. So let's take a look here. Ooh, sizzling. Yep, those might need just a little bit longer and a little less heat. If it keeps flaring up like that, for the safety of your sanity and your eyebrows, it might be best to turn it down just a little bit. Let's give these bad boys another little poke. Let's see, going in. Don't need to poke it very far. Brad may mention it. You want to go straight down so you're not catching any residual heat from outside the patty. And let's see, and it's still ticking up. And we bring it over here. See, we are at about 130 and climbing, 133. So that means these are just about ready. You know, one tip with food safety and ground beef, you don't want to undercook your ground beef. Rare is great for steaks, but what makes that safe for a steak but not necessarily a hamburger is that the bacteria on a steak is almost entirely on the outside of it, not inside the tissue. With ground beef, in the grinding process, that bacteria is introduced throughout the whole meat product. And so as a result, eating undercooked ground beef can actually be a potential vector for disease such as salmonella and E. coli and all sorts of other things you don't want to get. But that being said, I think these bad boys are about ready. So thanks for joining us. Have a good grill.
Never trust anybody that doesn't click their tongs first. Got to make sure they work.
Oh yeah, baby. Look at these jalapenos.
I know.